Welcome to the fourth and final day of the Star Eastern Hemisphere Championship here on the beautiful Lake Garda. After 3 intense days of racing, it all came down to the very last, with the top two teams going into the race on equal points and battling for final glory. The same as on previous days, the majority of the fleet was packed next to the committee boat for the start. Ukraine's Bonda and Bazurin secured the best start at the committee boat end, with Negri and Clean to leeward. To windward, but a few metres behind, were Sweden's Jorhov and Pedersen, along with Germany's Gloon and Belts. The Germans tacked almost immediately to get out of the dirty wind and head for the right side of the upwind track. Soon after, most of the rest of the fleet were tacked onto port as well, with Negri and Clean leading the pack and the Swedes to leeward of them. No one was paying attention to Germany's Polgar and Koi, who after a bad start risked everything and headed for the left side of the course against all the odds. Negri and Clean once again chose the favoured side of the course and were the first to round the windward mark with a safe lead over the rest of the fleet. Polgar and Koi had a lot of work to do if they had any hope of catching their rivals to claim the championship win. Rounding the mark in second place and 20 seconds behind were Italy's Boghi and Lambertenghi, and another 12 seconds behind were Bonda and Bazurin. Negri and Clean extended their lead in the downwind leg, with the championship title looking certain. A pleasant surprise was waiting for Negri and Clean as they rounded the downwind mark in the shape of former opponent and 2012 Star Class World Champion Robert Scheid, who was following them in his laser. Next around after Negri and Clean were Boghi and Lambertenghi, who were holding firmly onto their second place. Despite managing to make up places during the downwind leg, Negri's main rivals for the championship, Polgar and Koi, were still a long way off from threatening him. Negri and Clean chose the same right-hand track approach in the second upwind in what has so far been a winning strategy. Again, the Germans had no choice but to take another risk. Polgar and Koi headed far out to the left and put in one tack to head for the mark, which they rounded in fourth place, surprising everyone. However, they rounded almost a minute behind Negri and Clean, who were sailing to the finish unthreatened. Rounding over half a minute behind the leaders were Boghi and Lambertenghi, who were now struggling to hold on to second place, with Ukraine's Gureyev and Kushner and Polgar and Koi putting immense pressure on them. Negri and Clean crossed the finish line with a significant margin and claimed their Star Eastern European Championship title. Crossing the line in second place were Boghi and Lambertenghi. Polgar and Koi finished the race in third and were second overall in the championship. The 2013 Star Eastern Hemisphere Championship had it all, with thrilling racing conditions on the unpredictable Lake Garda, with all scheduled races held. The weather conditions varied hugely, with light to strong breezes, storms, rain and sun, really testing the star teams. The awards ceremony was held immediately after racing. Negri and Clean were presented with their trophies and relished their victory, which will see them rise up the rankings of the Star Sailors League. Next event on the league is the 2013 Star World Championship, which takes place in the USA from the 29th of August to the 7th of September. See you then.